It's another pubcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god, what is that face? If you're
Hi.
not a viewer,
Hi,
if you're not a
guys.
listener, there was a face there. That was a bit Markiplier. You went there. Oh yeah,
Hi,
you've got a
guys.
topic that you want to start this off with, so I'm immediately going to talk about something else, but only very briefly, because I'm gonna announce something that we've not even consulted each other on, because then it will definitely happen. Firstly, if you enjoy podcasts and hotfix, then you can support via Patreon. There's a thingy up there. There's a thingy down there. And you get a shout out at the next hotfix. You don't get a shout out on the podcast because we do that on hotfix. How it's always worked. That is
Sorry
a
about that
disgusting noise, and I did not have time to mute it. For the, I've got a plan. I want to see people's
Is it from the
feedback for this.
Prudential?
It's a plan from the Pru, and this is that the last pubcast before Christmas, I think should be done live. I think we should do the last pubcast before Christmas live, and I think it should be done in the evening. And I think it should involve actual drinks. Because we've not had a pubcast where we've just sat and had a drink whilst we talked, even though it's called pubcast. We nearly did once, but then because it was when McGee had her eye poked out by a thorn, we actually recorded Hotfix at like 10 o'clock or something mental. And so we had
My
a drink
neck
with
is
Hotfix.
wide as my face. What's going on here?
Yeah, pretty much. But then we recorded pubcast the day after. So it was like it was
Okay.
like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so we couldn't have a drink then. So last pubcast before Christmas,
Why not?
it should be live, and it should be full of alcohol. And people can do the unit loss drinking game, which can be found on the forums, which you should all be members of anyway.
Can we do it in Spearmint Rhino?
It's a long way to travel to do a podcast, ain't it? Besides, no
Okay.
trainers. No trainers. That's what the rule is, isn't it? No trainers.
I'm not old enough anyway to drink. I'm only 16.
What?
No, it sounds like a kingly plan.
Done. Easy. Set. This is my second
So-
can of Monster, by the way. If you watched Hotfix
Mate,
on Thursday,
Mate,
I
does
was
that
watching-
say Call of Duty? Mate,
It
is
does,
that a
there's
Black Ops 3
it's a
tin?
Black Ops 3 tin.
Oh, dear God.
Then it was a different can of Monster I was drinking on that, but I've got a bit of a cold and a sore throat, and I haven't slept properly for like 4 days for some reason. So I'm just chugging through energy drinks to keep going.
Mate, bruv, son, I've been fucking... I've drunk. I bought a 39 pence energy drink can,
Oh no!
but it was actually quite nice, so then I bought another one. It had no fear written on the bottle, but it was really nice.
And
No
another
fear,
one,
bloke.
and another one.
No.
It's just
And then I
two.
bought a Ripper, right? Now, I've not been drinking energy drinks, to be fair, that much. But the last like week and a half, I've drank like 3 of them, and I really like them. But it's like I'm not getting a buzz off them or anything.
The
I'm just
first,
drinking them, and it's like, well, whatever.
the first
think
one
I'm
after a
immune to
while,
it.
the first one after a while is like rough because it's
You know what
too
it-
sweet.
You know what it feels like?
then-
It feels like this
Excuse me.
banned substance.
Do excuse me. I need to discipline the dog.
Boys, discipline the dog. Ladies and gentlemen, if your dog dares to bark during any one of our podcasts, listen to him. Has he just killed a dog? Is he just? I think he just strangled it. What? It's gone eerily quiet. This is not a good sign. This is a bad sign. Maybe the dog's killed him. We can only hope the dog has ripped out his throat. Although surely we'd hear a noise like this. Oh, a gargling noise. I can't hear nothing. Can you hear anything? Ladies and gentlemen, I can't hear nothing. Oh.
There was a refusal to obey orders.
We heard it.
So the dog is now in a crate downstairs with the door locked, and she will stay there until we're finished.
Oh
Little
my
bastard.
god. The discipline has been handed. You're
She's-
going to do this with your kid?
Oh yeah, that'll go in the dog crate as well. She still
Get in
has
the
a
crate.
problem. No matter, we've managed to get her out of most bad habits. She still has a real problem with like bad weather, specifically the wind. If it's dead windy, which it is here at the moment, when the house creaks, she thinks it's because there's someone moving about in it.
Yeah,
And the house creaks on the stairs. So
Yeah,
she'll be
so
up here
she thinks someone's
sleeping. There'll be a big gust of wind, she'll be asleep. Now she can't smell anything different, can she? Because there's no one there. But she can hear the noise of what she thinks are footsteps on the stairs. So she runs out onto the landing, gets to the top, growls, barks, gets like really aggressive, but at nothing. And we just can't get out of her. So now I'll try and calm her down. by, standing down. I'm just like, no, it's fine. This time, though, she was doing the full baring the teeth, so she got shouted at and put away.
Oh yeah,
because
getting aggressive.
you're not having that. Not having that in the house, no way. So I
Anyway,
apologise for
energy
the
drinks.
yelling. Yeah,
That's fine. So energy drinks. It's like this banned delight that has been designed by the marketing agencies that market this shit, where it's like, but if I drink too much of this, I'll get a heart attack and die. Or it's got so much sugar in it. It's got so unthinkable, unfathomable. Oh, we need to come up with a name for the episode, but before we do that, unfathomable. That word reminded me of it. Levels of taurine and caffeine and winrine and all this shit. Is that a thing? I don't know. It is now.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's come up with a name for the show. So this is the 26th, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's the 26th. Because the last one... No,
Hang
it's
on.
the 25th,
No,
because
it's
the last one
27th.
was the unspeakably far north. 24th.
Yes, and the Goat Herd 23rd.
Yeah.
And the...
Well, the one before that was the utterly unnamed, because we didn't have a name for it.
So we need something for 25th. So
Yeah.
let's go for the...
25th.
25th of the undeniably...
Well, hang on, you're changing the naming convention here. You can't just switch the naming convention.
No, I'm just speaking thoughts out.
Go hurt 23rd and
Undeniably.
the unspeakably far north, and then you're going the 25th episode of the something. But it's not, is there?
The unquestion... No, have we had unquestionably for a long time? The unquestionably... Ultra Worth 25th? No, 20... Nothing rhymes with fifth.
No. I don't know. There's no rhyme for fifth. Hang on.
Myth.
Wait.
Fifth.
Wait. What rhymes?
You're gonna go... Wow. What
With
rhymes with fifth?
fifth?
Welcome to Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. The best, totally pointless
In
podcast.
fairness, as I started actually typing it, it came up with what rhymes with fifth. So clearly, people.
Yeah,
are
but
asking.
the autocorrect on Google is just a retard detector. If you
It
type
is,
something
it's
in there
dead
and it
funny.
autocorrects, then you're a retard, basically.
I want to say, how do I want to see what it comes up with this.
How do I?
How do I love thee? How do I tax my car? How do I use Apple Pay? How do I get Windows 10? How many?
Why is this? Where's the name for the show? You just putting random shit into a fucking search bar.
How many people died on the Titanic? Is that really that common a question?
I typed in how old, and the first one is am I? How old am I?
I just
how
typed
old is Mary Berry?
I just typed in do dogs. Do dogs get colds? Do dogs cry? Do dogs dream?
This is an amazing game.
Do dogs have brains? What is that? That's not
Hang on.
real. That's not real.
Who's Pete Wicks? This has come up with how old am I? How old is Mary Berry? How old is Rita Ora? Aura?
I've just surpassed it. I've just surpassed it. Do cats fart? Do cats get colds? Do cats?
No, I've surpassed it, Blake. No, I've surpassed
Wait,
it.
no,
again.
wait.
No,
You're missing
this.
one. You're missing one. I've
can't
got
do
two
this.
more. Do cats sweat? All of those? Stupid. Do cats have periods?
No, that's not as good as this, bloke.
Really?
This is a
What have
video
you got?
game podcast. I've got this. I typed in "do people" and I get "do people still play Battlefield 4?" Do people still play Modern Warfare 2?
Yes, yeah, I just done it as well.
What is this? Do people still play Battlefield 3? Do people live in Chernobyl? I mean, what? Do people still use MySpace? Do people still play Destiny? What is Google? What are
Oh my
people
god,
about?
this is amazing. How do you spell? Just for how do. How does Tinder work? How does Uber work? And then the last one, how do you get thrush?
Oh,
This is amazing. This is
Right, no, this is
amazing.
stupid. Right, so the topic
Anyway.
I had, the name.
Hang on, what
25th.
rhymes
Fifth.
with? That's what I started out with. What rhymes with fifth? But then it just turned into whatever. I get the feeling that this is going to be okay. Rhyme Zone says syllables. We've got Brith, Blith, Brith, Dith, Fifth, Frith, Grith. I don't think those are words, but apparently. Myth, Pith, Scythe.
Scythe?
Scythe? What? Fuck off. Smith, with. So with rhymes with fifth. Granny Smith, Joseph Smith, forthwith, herewith. There's basically nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing that rhymes with fifth.
The herewith 25th. It just the herewith.
Okay.
The herewith.
It's the herewith 25th. That's what it is.
We have
now.
to pronounce it with.
The herewith
Anyway.
25th.
Here lies the 25th episode of the fucking podcast. It's dead on arrival. So anyway, right. Star Trek, new Star Trek series. So this was news some time ago, and I was like, okay, new Star Trek series. Now I think it's done by the guy who wrote the story for the new Star Trek films, which actually I kind of like, although they get slated sometimes, and I don't know why, because I enjoy both of them, even though they're cheesy. I'm more Into Darkness, gets slated more, and I kind of like that a bit more.
Into
but
Darkness
anyway,
I thought Into Darkness was pretty good. I mean, one of the things I saw most about that is, there's too many plot holes. I'm sorry, have you seen Star Trek?
yeah,
All of them are all full of plot holes. It's all like, I mean, especially look at things like Picard and stuff. It's like, the Prime Directive. I'll just carry on interfering with everything. I mean, even Picard did that.
No. You know the biggest issue I've got with Star Trek is everything is solved with the transporters. Everything, because what you do if somebody is dying of an alien disease, you transport the disease out of their body with the transporter. If an alien ship comes to attack you, you simply transport bits of their ship all over the place.
Yeah, but you can't because they've got shields which block the transporters.
No, that's what your phasers are for. You blow the shields away with the phasers, and then you just start transporting bits of them.
Yeah, why don't you just transport the guys out of the ship into space?
No, this is what you do. No, you don't.
Then
do
you've
that.
got but then you've got a nice empty ship. You've got an extra
You
ship.
Their ship. You've got to be a sick bastard to be a captain in the fucking glorious space empire of Stylosa. So I'm there on the bridge, right, and I get Data's like, Captain, there's a fucking ship over there, and I'm like, get him on the fucking big screen, dickhead, and he's like,
get him on the blower.
Get him on the blower. And I'm like, all right, bruv, and he's like, hello, we are alien, and I would just be like, alien free. I'd put the phone down, and then I'd go, Captain LaForge. I don't know why he's the captain now. I'm the captain. No, I'm the emperor. I'm on the ship. Geordie, you wanker.
You're just confusing it with 40k. That's what you're.
Geordie, you wanker. You see their captain? I want you to transport his arm onto his head and his leg onto his first officer's face. Right? That's what, and then he does it, and then obviously they're dead because that would kill them because the face would be, they drop down. The rest of the people on the ship are like, "Fuck, what has just happened?" They try to raise the shields, and we just blast the ship with phasers, and then we keep. Honestly, bear with me. Everything can be solved with transporters.
Yeah, but
the Borg comes. The Borg come to get you. No. The Borg come to get you. The Borg haven't got the shields up. Nobody has the shields up in the Star Trek universe. They just fly around, and they're like, "We are the Borg. We are going to fucking wreck you." And the Federation, what do? They fire the photon torpedoes, they fire their phasers, blow bits of the Borg ship off. The Borg's like, raise the shields. And then they start shooting, and then they're doing a bit of damage to the shields, and the Borg are like, modulate the frequency. And then suddenly, their weapons do no damage. This is what you do. Borg comes in, we are the Borg, and you just transport them all over the place. You just basically mash them together. You turn their cube into a fucking trapezoid, and then just fuck them off, and then go get lost, Borg. Nobody could beat you. Honestly, nobody could beat you with a transporter.
Go for the ultimate in like horrendous warfare.
And then, bloke, this is what you do. You have mobile transports. You don't have guns. You just have guns that transport. You aim them at people, and it just transports it away.
Yeah, but this is what I'm thinking. You just go full wanker with it. A bunch of people, like a bunch of idiots, come up towards you in the ship, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna." We demand that you surrender on this shit, and you just go, okay, no worries. Then you use the transporter, and you transport their arseholes into their mouths, literally.
Yeah.
Just all at once, the entire crew. So in the middle there, and now your arsehole is literally part of your tongue. So you just, no matter what you do, you've just got an arsehole in your tongue, and it still excretes, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they would surrender instantly. They'd be like, they'd just be throwing up everywhere. They wouldn't be able to control themselves. People who commit suicide, they get the phasers out, they just shoot themselves in the face. They'd be like, I can't handle.
And I tell you something,
having an
there's no fucking way
tongue.
I would get into a transport. Fuck that. You're not transporting me, you bastards.
What if you?
Because I'm of the belief
Riker and ended up with an evil twin, an evil Riker clone.
I'm of the belief every time you're transported, you're actually cloned, and your previous self is deleted.
Isn't that what they said though? Isn't that what they've always said? That when you're transported, your body isn't transported. It's like you are broken. You are broken down.
Yeah, then reassembled.
And then a new one of you is reassembled, but like the previous you is dead. I thought that was the thing.
No,
was that not true?
The law with the transporter is it locks onto you, your signal, yeah? It breaks down all of your atoms, turns them into information. So your atoms turn into information. The information is beamed to the next point, and then it reassembles you again. So it's still you. It's the same atoms. They were just digitized. It's not like you clone, but I don't believe that, though. I believe that you're deleted and then copied, so you're not actually alive.
That's what I must have read, like a theory that someone has said that's what they reckon it is. Because I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, that's a bit dark, isn't it? Every time you get transported, you die, and it's not you. Like the new you thinks you've survived, but the actual you, there is no actual you because you die every single time. You just get wrecked.
Anyway. So there's a new series coming out, right? Now, where do we think this will go? You know what I really want to see? Right? I really want to see some sort of like
massive war.
Yeah, basically. Massive war. So Next Generation was good. Probably the best Star Trek series, okay? But Next Generation, a lot of it was faffing around with just the Enterprise, okay? It did go into some fairly decent story arcs with like the Borg and other people like that, and that was fine. Then you got Voyager, and that was like basically the Next Generation again, but with a shit cast and just in a place where they could just invent new races.
And a captain that didn't give a fuck about the Prime Directive, because every time they came across anything, it was like, yeah, we'll interfere in that. Let's start a war. And the end of that
shit on
series,
Chakotay's face.
I mean, no, Chakotay. Not to spoil a series that's been gone for like a decade or something, but the ending to that show was the most cop out shit I think I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because they spend all the time trying to get back, and then it's just Janeway from the future just turns up and just goes, "Here's a bunch of future technology that makes you immune to all damage and allows you to just go through the warp."
Yeah.
The Borg.
The Borg are solid. Not anymore, because we've just got this amazing technology. So just fucking install this ablative armor. That's it on your ship, and have mega phasers.
Just have all this technology and just come back home. And
while you're there, I tell you what, just blow the whole Borg nexus up so the Borg are fucked. Oh yeah. And infect them with a disease as well. Yeah.
It's just it was just like, I remember, because I never watched it all the way through, and then I was like, I'm going to finish watching Voyager, and the last
there are some good episodes of Voyager.
There are, but it's just like the very ending. It's just like, fuck it, whatever.
The emergency command hologram. That was amazing. He stands up and he gets the extra pip, and his uniform changes colour, and he's telling them they hacked into his brain, hadn't they? Because some aliens were watching his dreams, and he was dreaming about being the captain, and he had this photonic cannon or something which blows up Borg cubes in one shot, and they think it's real, and he's like, and they're shitting the stuff. So it had some good episodes. But anyway, Deep Space Nine.
And the Time Police made me piss myself. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Where the ship comes up,
amazing ship.
It's like a time traveling ship, and they go around like correcting the timeline, and the captain of the time traveling ship is so sick.
He's a nutter, ain't he?
Well, he's so sick of having to clean up after Janeway that him in the future comes back to try and kill Voyager. Because he's so sick of spending his entire life going around fixing Janeway's like shit mess.
Isn't it RoboCop? Isn't that actor RoboCop as well? The guy, is RoboCop, ain't he? The guy out of the new
I think it was
Star Trek.
I think it was, yeah. But that was like, that episode was dead funny because it was like he turns up to try and wreck Janeway because he spends his entire career fixing her mess, and he's like, I'm fucking sick of this. And so him from the past has to come and stop him from the future from destroying Janeway. I was watching it and I was like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. When he's talking about the fact that them going through that quadrant, all the shit they did just ruined everything. Like they mess with the
shouldn't have even been there in the first place and all this
so much that he's just like, I cannot deal with this anymore. Fuck you. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna murder the lot of you because I cannot deal with it. He's like, if I did it because it would save myself from a bunch of stress. It's like,
So
such a good episode that was.
Then you've got Deep Space Nine. Now, Deep Space Nine was a different format for the Star Trek series at the time, where it was more like about politics, and obviously with a static space station for a start. I mean, and then they did have like the odd episodes when they went off on stupid away missions because whatever, it's Star Trek.
With what was it called?
The Defiant.
Yeah.
And killed people because it was like an anti-Borg fucking cruiser or something ridiculous. But that had kind of everything. That had the like the politics and added the big like galactic war stuff and all.
And
I like that. Yeah, and Worf just showed up. Isn't Worf trying to kickstart some sort of old fucking show about Worf or some shit? He wants to make him start. Well, just go away. But anyway, what do I want from this? Well,
go away.
I don't want in the past. I don't want none of that shit. Enterprise was a decent effort, and I was a bit sad that stopped because that was a genuinely quite decent. Enterprise was. It was funny seeing the Federation not as this all-powerful. We've got the answers to everything. We're just like these scumbags in space. I always remember there's one episode in that, and there's an alien ship, and it's like the first time they see shields, and this alien ship's aggressive to them, and so they deploy the fucking. They've got like a missile launch that comes down the bottom of the ship, and it fires like a missile, and it just goes like ping, and they're like. What is this? What is this? And the aliens are like, what? And they just like fucking cripple the Enterprise or something crazy happens in it.
The only problem with that was really funny for that. They made this is the problem when they go back and do like prequel stuff, and it was the same problem with Star Wars, like the prequels to Star Wars. In the original trilogy, the ships look like boxy as fuck. They look boxy and they look ungainly because they're like models. They're not CG shit. They're like they made them out of plastic and metal and stuff. They're little models. They couldn't, the whole kind of rounded futuristic thing wasn't really a thing back then. So when they did the prequels for Star Wars, it's like all these ships look more high tech than the ones that we saw before. Even the ones we saw before are after years of development. It's like they've gone backwards. Why does all their new shit look old? And all the old
like
shit
the Naboo
new?
fighters. They were like dead sleek and everything.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, well,
And then it's like
shit
the
compared to
looks
this.
looks like a pile of crap. And then it's the same thing with Enterprise. It's kind of you've gone back in time, but because technology's better and we've got computers that can actually make special effects now, the Enterprise looked way better than the original Enterprise did. So when they did that mirror universe one, where the Federation was a bunch of like bloodthirsty warlord nutters. They find the original Enterprise, and they're like, "Holy shit! This has been sent from the future." But it's laughable because they're flying towards it in their shit Enterprise. But the shit Enterprise looks like 100 times better than the old one. The old one's like this. Looks like a fucking dinner plate with cardboard tubes sticking out of it, and the new one looks dead high tech, and it's like, boys.
Yeah.
Really?
What they did was, it doesn't. It's compared to the Galaxy class Enterprise. It doesn't look high tech compared to that. It looks shit. It looks a bit industrial, and it looks like, and like things like the warp core looks garbage in that and things like that. But yeah, you're right. The original series one. Anyway, so what do I want? Well, I would like it to be in the future. So I want it to be beyond where the Next Generation happened. Yeah, but at a point where Picard can actually make cameo appearances because you need Captain Picard. Well,
Admiral Picard,
Grand Admiral of the world,
Grand Rear Admiral
Picard.
If that's
that always makes me laugh, brain. Rear Admiral. Anyway, what I want though is
Admiral. Or is it just Rear Admiral?
No, Rear. It's just Rear. I don't know why it's called Rear Admiral. An Admiral, and then there's Admiral of the Fleet, isn't there? That's one as well, I think.
Admiral.
Because you get admirals under the admiral, the king, whatever. First Sea Lord, I think, is the highest rank, isn't it?
First Sea Lord.
I'm sure it is.
Sea Lord.
I'm sure that's
awesome.
Sure
Hang on, I'm googling this shit. First Sea Lord.
It was Churchill was the Sea Lord. I'm sure it was.
First Sea Lord and Chief of Naval Staff is the Royal Navy's professional head and Chairman of the Navy.
He's the boss.
And his name is Admiral Sir George Zambellis, KCB, DSC, ADC, DL.
Fucking hell. Yeah, but the first one, bloke. The first Naval Lord was Sir George Cockburn.
Oh yes.
What a hero! I'm sure this was Churchill was one of these.
Wasn't I thought Churchill was he Sea Lord? Was he Sea Lord or was he Admiral of the Fleet? Or was he Rear Admiral of some kind? He was definitely doing Navy.
Jutland, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. That's quality. I want to be First Sea Lord. That sounds solid.
Apparently, Charles Madden was a Sea Lord.
Charles Madden. Didn't he start?
Didn't he play American football?
Yeah. Start football. He never started. He didn't even know what we're talking about.
Mate, not real football. So moving on, I would like a Star Trek series which is some sort of in the future thing where the Federation is obviously solid because it would go on from where the Federation. I mean, the Federation have beat the Dominion. The Federation have slagged the Cardassians, who were part of the Dominion. The Federation have basically fucked the Klingons. The Federation have fucked the Romulans as well. And everybody's subservient to the Super Federation, right? But the Borg are coming, bloke. I want it on the because the Borg are unbeatable, ain't they? I mean, you know, in the First Contact, the Borg send one cube and it wrecks the entire fucking whatever. Is it Sector 001 or something?
Yeah.
Earth. It wrecks the entire defense fleet and all of the ships that could get there in time. What I want is just a series that is focused on the Borg and the Federation, and it's just this
massive
war that is just like. And like crazy shit goes on. And you know what I'd like to see as well? I think this would be mental if they had multiple ships in the same series. So if you had like a fucking crazy covert ship which was operating somewhere in the fucking Borg place, and then like the battleship, you know, like the fucking mega Enterprise. I don't know. I get happy when I think of Star Trek because I think, wow, it's so cheesy, but it makes me like I want a Star Trek series that is just about war, basically. All I want. I don't want none of this shit. Like, but I guess it's probably going to be about exploration and all that shit. I don't want that. I don't want away missions to some shit planet to find out why Data has gone fucking rogue or something stupid has happened to him. No, I want an away mission to a fucking enemy complex with a massive army and an orbital bombardment by the Federation. Because you know what? It's like Sins of a Solar Empire mod. You know, we always used to laugh.
Yeah.
Where the Federation is bombing a planet. It's like, what?
I had a really good idea for something, but I do not have the time to do anything about it. And it's kind of crushing.
Picard bombing the planet with his quantum torpedoes, just railing them like
the Enterprise is just sitting there, like the death toll rises into the billions, and Picard's like, "Yeah, carry on, keep it up." Oh God, what was that? Yeah, I was reading one of the Horus Heresy books again. The other day, and I started reading the Word Bearers as well, the Word Bearers omnibus, because
that is quality. The Word Bearers, the Thousand Suns one as well, that is quality.
I really like the Word Bearers one, but I was like,
it's the first heretic, isn't it? The Word Bearers. Is that the first one?
Yeah, I finished reading the
first. Erebus, ain't it?
Yeah, I finished reading the first heretic, and then I started reading it's the 40k Word Bearers omnibus that I've got. With a guy called Marduk, who becomes a dark apostle, and he finds like a Necron relic and uses it to attack the Imperium. It's quality, it's dead good. But I was reading it, and I was like, they've missed a trick here, because people keep sort of one of the big things that always comes up is, oh, what if the Emperor had lived, or what if the Emperor was revived? And the Primarchs came back, like the loyal Primarchs came out of their hiding spots in the warp where they'd fight eternal.
What's this got to do with Star Trek? You bastard.
No, it's just like the mirror universe thing, and the whole something that happens in the future, and actually having a massive war and stuff. So why has no one done it so that the Emperor does come back? Like the Emperor comes back, he summons all the living Primarchs to his side, he cures the ones that are in stasis. So like Lionel Johnson and Gurney Man, they're in stasis. They ain't dead, but they're nearly
Gurney
dead.
Man in this fucking stasis.
The Emperor gets reincarnated. He dies. He gets reincarnated. The Astronomicon's back better than ever. All the Primarchs that are in the warp, like the loyal ones, they come back because they're like, holy shit, Dad's home. And then they come home and they're like, fucking hell, come on, boys. They rally together all the Space Marines. They actually take control of them because at the moment the Space Marine chapters just fucking do whatever they like. Because there's no overriding authority, they just do whatever the fuck they want. Because all the Primarchs just pissed off like a bunch of idiots as soon as the legions got split up. Then they reform the Crusade, and they start having a proper war against chaos again. You've got massive battles, and like they reform some of the legions. So like the Salamanders reabsorb all of the chapters, and the Ultramarines reabsorb theirs. And like the Grey Knights come out in the open and they get like boosted because the Emperor starts like using this technology to turn them into like super custodes type guys. You could do all of that, write a massive book, and then you could just it could just be like one path out of the future. Because all the way through the Word Bearers books, which I really like, is they're sitting there and they're looking at the visions the gods are feeding them, ain't they? They're like, oh, so I've walked 1,000 paths. Erebus says all the time. He's like, in all these different paths, I see this particular event caused us to lose the war, or this event caused us to win it, or if we don't get this person to convert, then this will cause this fracture, which means this path will no longer be true. Could you not write a fucking huge series of like 40k Crusade where the Emperor comes back, the Demon Primarchs come out of the warp, the Emperor starts experimenting again, the Imperium rises up? It could just be one of like a million paths that's been foreseen by one of the Thousand Suns guys, or maybe a word bearer, Dark Apostle, like has got a guy. Like
So
maybe
you want to see this in terms of Star Trek? Is that what you're telling me?
I want to
Because
see
it was
like
about Star Trek, bro, not fucking 40K.
I want to see stuff like fucking alternative universes and shit. Like what if something catastrophic happened? And then it all went bad, but then it came back. Stuff like that, you could do that for nearly anything. It would work well. Things like Star Trek and Star Wars. It works well for 40K.
I don't like prequels. I don't like prequels because they're a bit annoying, right? Because you've got all of the existing lore that somehow they have to tie into. But it gives you like a chance to make like. I mean, I remember with Enterprise, there'd be stupid episodes where you'd be like, oh, I remember where the. I forget the guy's name. He was the British actor. He was like the security officer. He invents the force field, and you remember it. It's like, oh, he's invented the force field for the humans, Like, and things like that. When they first get the first phases and all this shit, and it's like, oh, right. And when the transporters don't work properly because they've just been invented and all this shit.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting. But like for me, I would like it to be something where it is, the Star Trek MMO. That's in the future. That is beyond where it is, and you start seeing crazy shit like mental ships, and it almost is like its own fucking stupid universe. Like have 10 nacelles on the back of some massive enterprise. Just fucking why not? And have 50 phases. It's like I would like to see something like that. Anyway, Mr. Kirioth, it is Pubcast. So what the hell have we been playing this week? What have you been playing? I'll let you go first.
I hate to break it to you, but you know what? I think let's start with a joint experience. Let's start with the Legacy of the Void co-op. Because we played through all of those, and in fact, the final part of that should go out today because there was five stages, wasn't there? So there's been 4 out so far. So the final part of that series will be out today at 5, I believe. And looking like having gone through the videos and kind of looked at the gameplay again and looked at what we did. I think I've worked out what they've gone for. So basically, if you haven't seen it yet, and you should have done because you should have watched the videos, go back and do that now. It's co-op missions where each person's got a base and they can pick one of 6 heroes. I think you can both pick the same hero as well if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And you've got special abilities related to those heroes that kind of affects what you can build and how you can build it. And the 5 co-op missions are all very similar. They're very kind of formulaic. You've got either something spawns halfway down the map and you've got to go and kill it, whilst occasionally a wave of enemies attacks your base, or you've got to defend something in the middle of the map or off to the side of the map, and periodically things will come down and attack you, like little waves of enemies will attack your base, or you've got to stop something from getting from one point to another, and periodically little armies will come and attack your base. It can it's like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was a bit dull in terms of like imagination. I just felt like it was a bit lazy. But
I thought it was bad.
I kind of worked out what it is they're going for. It's not really. I think the problem is the expectation. I thought we were going to be going into like a co-op campaign style thing, like something with a story, something where the characters actually did something and weren't just there to provide an excuse for different abilities.
I expected that. Yeah.
And I thought we would get to control the characters as well, not just control special abilities that they bring to the battlefield.
I did as well. Like we actually have like gym rate because I mean they've got the models for these people.
Yeah. But it wasn't.
You were I
was Artanis.
Yeah, they've got the model for Artanis because I've played him in the single player.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was going to be. I think we both thought that's what it was going to be. And so when we played it, it was a bit disappointing, frankly, because it was not. It wasn't that. But looking back at it, I think it's more just like it's like a high score challenge deal. That's all it is. It's like doing. I guess it's like doing dungeon runs, but co-op.
Well, I said it felt like a mod. It feels like a mod somebody has made for the game. It don't feel like actually something Blizzard have given you, because all it is like Kerry said, here's a bloody tentacle that spawned across the map. Go and kill it before it fires its long range attack and kills this thing. And then the other maps would just sort of mash them together. So it would be a bit of defense, then you have to go out and then do a bit of this over here, a bit of that. It's like I wasn't very impressed honestly with that, and I was like, okay, well. StarCraft 2, what have you got for me? But then, Mr. Kirioth, I went and played the single-player campaign. Now, I know you haven't played this, so...
I am actually kind of looking forward to it, because I missed the last one, just because, I know it sounds bad, Zerg never really interested me at all. And the idea of playing like a Zerg campaign, I just didn't...
Yeah, but they're not really like that, though, because you do use the other races.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed the Wings of Liberty one. I really liked that, and I actually the thing that's making me want to play this campaign is, do you remember the mission in Wings of Liberty where you played as the Protoss and you had to just survive as long as you could against like waves and waves of Zerg?
Waves and waves of
I
Zerg,
played that mission over and over again.
I really like stuff like that.
Enjoyed that. So
because you could build, the way to do it was you could build loads of void rays, and then that's for ages and ages. Yeah. So this campaign, hilariously, I loaded the game up and I'm like, right, okay, start campaign. I didn't realise that the game had set me to Heroes of the Storm, fucking Heart of the Swarm campaign. Although I've completed the Heart of the Swarm campaign, so the game's loading in, and I'm like, this intro cinematic, I've seen this before, and they're talking about Mengsk being alive. Mengsk, his name's so hard to say. Mengsk.
I was saying
Arcturus Mengsk. Him, he dies at the end of Heroes of the Heart of the Swarm. They've got the same. He dies at the end of the Swarm game, right? But at this, it was like he's still alive, and I'm like, what is going on here? Then it dawned on me, you dickhead Sty, you fucking started to play. You played the old expansion camp, but I don't know why it set me to that. It was dead weird. Anyway, so then I started playing Legacy of the Void, and the cinematic quality was like way better. It wasn't some low bitrate shit video, which is what it was for Heart of the Swarm. And it's like you've got Artanis sitting above Ire, which is the Protoss homeworld, with a massive fleet, and he's just got fucking thousands and thousands of zealots on these hovering platforms, because fucking why not? Just in space, like above the planet, and he's like looking down and he's like giving this crazy speech about how we're going to go back to Ire and murder the fucking Zerg, and it's our own world and we're taking it back. And then Zeratul appears and he's like, Artanis, the craziness is coming. I don't want to spoil too much. He's like, the craziness is coming, Artanis. This is not the right war. And Artanis is like, many Protoss have given their lives for this day. The war! Oh! And then they fucking like all beam down onto the planet. It's like, what? I'm watching it. I'm like, what the shit? This is what I need. I get off on massive galactic space opera mega invasions. I'm just like, all right then. So it goes to the first mission, and you have just got a massive force, like a massive force of Protoss, and there's like all crazy shit going on as you're like just blitzing the Zerg, because the Zerg are all feral. Because they've got no control, because fucking Kerrigan's fucked off and the Overminds are dead. So they're just like fucking about the Zerg, but there's got like loads of like mega Zerg armies on there, and you're just like smashing them with like loads of fucking Protoss units. But there's crazy things above happening, like motherships flying in, but getting shot out the sky by like Mutalisks. They fly past the screen and then crash into the ground and everything. It's like, whoa, they've gone crazy here. This is like, and I'm like, yeah, this is an RTS campaign. Oh, I'm loving it. I go through the mission, I do it. And it's got like little bonus objectives, and I'll do them. And then it goes into more like storytelling, and then you learn a bit more information, and you're going to go and find this geezer. You want to talk to him, and then the second mission just has a massive fucking twist straight away. I was like, all right then. But even the cinematic for it's dead good. It's like, well, this is fucking crazy. And you've got a certain guy running around, and he's like, for Ire, and then he is no more. And it's like, well, that's interesting. So I don't want to spoil it though. I mean, I could spoil it. Do you want me to spoil it? I'll give major spoiler warnings to anyone listening, because it'll only take 2 minutes to spoil.
Well, the problem is I want to play it, so I don't know if
it happens so soon. But it happens so soon, though. I mean, it might be fixed. I don't know.
Go on, do it.
A major spoiler warning, then, ladies and gentlemen. If you intend to play it, so just mute your ears for the next until I do this. You need to watch the. Well, this is going to be hard if you listen to SoundCloud. But when I wave again like this, you can unmute. Okay. Been warned. I
was going to say that I'll say something when you wave, but that's not going to help at all, because.
Say something. Say he's waving. He's waving.
But if they've got the sound turned down, they're not going to hear that. That's why I was going to say it, but then I was like,
it's not that major of a spoiler, but it's a twist. And so basically, what happens is Zeratul finds out that Amon is coming back, and Amon's the fucking crazed mental god guy. He's basically a chaos god, but it's dead similar to 40k. And the Protoss are all connected through like a psychic matrix. All of the Templar Protoss, also the normal Protoss. Basically, anybody who isn't a Stalker or a fucking Dark Templar is connected to this like mental psychic network. This guy infects it, so he turns up and he's just like causing all the Protoss to go crazy. So the massive Protoss army has landed on Ire, and then it just turns evil, and it's like, oh dear. And Zeratul is there with his boys, and he's like, oh shit. So you start murdering your own boys, and then you get to Artanis, who's rolling around on the floor because he's like crazy. But Artanis is like the super executor, fucking mental generale of the Protoss, which is like the god killer. And then he's clearly gone crazy. And Zeratul's like, hello, mate, you okay? And he's like, oh, Zeratul, I see now. Wow. He's going all crazy. And I'm thinking, is this Warhammer? Is this Warhammer? Is this Warcraft? Has he just drank the demon blood? Because it looks like that's what he's done to me. It's dead similar. The story's always dead similar. And Zeratul's like, there's only one way to help him. I've got to cut off his crazy psychic dreadlocks because that's what connects him to the thing. So he gets his fucking blades out, runs up to it. Well, his blades, he's got one in. Oh, he's got two. He's got one actually.
I think it's just one, isn't it?
And he tries to chin him, but obviously he's solid only because he's like infused by the chaos god of Amon Holmes. And he like fucking slaps him, and then they start having a massive fight. And then obviously the cinematic's crazy, and the fight goes down. And Artanis chops the shit out of Zeratul and murders him. But as Zeratul's dying on the floor, he's like, "Oh, Artanis, don't forget about the artifact." And Artanis is like, "Oh," and his dreadlock drops on the floor, and he's like, "No, Zeratul, why?" And he's looking at him, and then he's like, "That's as far as I got."
He's waving. He's waving.
So, but he's probably, yeah. But you know, things can change, and it wasn't comprehensively that is what happened. But yeah, the campaign though, I think it's got quite a lot of missions to it. People have been saying it's pretty damn good. If you do enjoy RTS campaigns, they're saying you'll really enjoy this because it's much better than Heart of the Swarm's campaign.
Yeah,
Wings of Liberty was decent because nothing really come out for ages, but even so, I thought that was slightly dodgy at times. But this is meant to be really good. What I really liked.
Give the review, son. Someone else is delivering something. Quick,
what
review,
the fuck?
Go.
What I really liked about Wings of Liberty when you went on to Char, so this was the Zerg homeworld, is it changed from, like, you felt like the mission briefings were being given on Char by, I think it was General Warfield, and I think it's Warfield. That made me feel as if I was part of the story, like, way more. It's like, wow, this is getting pretty good. Heart of the Swarm, I didn't really think did it for me that much. It was okay. But yeah, Legacy of the Void's meant to be crazy, and I say I'm going to play it tonight. We record these on Thursday, so Thursdays is the day I don't stream, but I'm going to heavily play the campaign, and I'm playing it on hard because I found Brutal to be really difficult. Like, I tried Brutal, and you need to be able to micro the units all the time, and like, I don't mind. I probably could do Brutal if I really tried, but I think I just would like to enjoy the story and also have a little bit of a challenge, but not have too much of like a, like it's over the top where it's going to be impossible for me, and there's going to be missions that are going to be very difficult to complete. Because I played Grey Goo in February this year, and that was, I liked that, but the bloody hell, the campaign was difficult in that, and I was playing it on the hardest difficulty, but it was like insanely difficult. I was just saying about the difficulty of the StarCraft Legacy of the Void. I'm playing it on hard, and it's hard, but I could probably play it on brutal. But I think then it would take away from the enjoyment of the game because I'm going to get stuck on missions a lot as I have to build like the perfect unit composition. And sometimes I just want to be like, I want some sort of a challenge, but I also want to enjoy the game for what it is. And I was saying about Grey Goo, that single player campaign, and that was fairly good, but it was very difficult. On hard, it was like really difficult. And there were missions, I had to, I'm trying missions 10, 15 times just to even do them because you make one little mistake and you'd lose. But playing it on hard, on the second mission I was on, you have to, like, you activate a base and you have to, like, just build the base up and then build units. It's like the standard first time you get a base in an RTS kind of game. Like, oh, here's a base with no power. Reconnect the power and start building units. And within about 2 minutes, there's an Ultralisk and, like, 10 fucking Mutalisks attacking my base. And I've only got Zealots. So I'm like, shit. And I didn't even have enough Zealots to kill the Ultralisk. I mean, Ultralisks, they do damage to Zealots. I mean, Zealots are okay against Ultralisks as well. It's not like a total whitewash. But you need, like, a lot of them to kill an Ultralisk, and I was like, fucking hell. So it's quite difficult, but I am looking forward to playing it, and as I say, I'll be playing it quite a bit, and I am a sucker for good campaigns like that. I mean, what it's doing with the story as well is it jumps around. It's not like you don't just get a mission briefing. When you complete a mission, it shows the next part of the story, and it's explaining what's going on. It's like Artanis is talking to his boys, explaining where the invasion's going down, and then it goes down, and then it's like, then you see Zeratul talking to Artanis, then you'll see Artanis talking to somebody else, but they're actually on the planet this time. So it's not like they're still in space doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it's, I kind of like it. So yeah, I'm going to have to see where it goes, but...
Well, I'm looking forward to playing that. I did enjoy the Wings of Liberty campaign.
Yeah.
And Blizzard do tend to do a good single player story when they do it.
It's always the same story though. That's the problem. Like
well, yeah.
What I explained in the spoiler section before, you could just apply to every Blizzard game, and it's like,
yeah. I mean, I guess the storytelling is the strong point. The actual story writing, not so much. It's just they found one.
yeah,
They
you're
found
right
one
there.
plot that works, and they just keep retelling it
Yeah.
over and over again. But because they retell it so
Well,
well,
that's
it's
the
like
thing.
you kind of just
But-
let it go.
Yeah. When Artanis is standing there above Aya, and he's got his fleet, and he's like, for Aya, and everybody just starts teleporting down. It's like, all right, boys,
yeah.
some shit's going down. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
I think I would probably be playing it on normal though, not hard, given the experience of the
Yeah,
co-op
hard
that we
was-
did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Having said that though, once we'd
I
actually
think normal might be a bit too easy though, honestly.
well, this
though,
is the
'cause-
thing because the normal actually when we played it on normal, the co-op missions,
yeah.
they were too easy, but hard was just a little bit too hard. But having said that, having played a couple of missions on normal, I think I could have done the others on hard because I got back into it. It was just like I haven't
Yeah.
played the game for
Got to warm up into it,
however
haven't
many
you, kind of thing.
however many years
Yeah.
it was. And I know I was floating a load of minerals, but I had a massive standing army most of the for 90% of the missions, and I was building defenses and I was still building stuff, and I was keeping on top of keeping probes going, which when we tried the first mission, I wasn't. So, I'd already kind of warmed up to the point where I could probably do it if I really wanted to, but yeah.
It just comes down to enjoyment. It's an interesting discussion that. It's like, what difficulty do you play games on? I mean, Witcher 3 was a good example of a game. I started off on the hardest difficulty, and then I dropped it down, because the reason why is, oh shit, I'm going to put these dice down. I keep chucking them everywhere. The reason why I decided to drop the difficulty is because the hardest difficulty on The Witcher heavily relies on potions. Like, The Witcher can make potions that buff certain attacks and stuff. He can make bombs and all of this. And I found that, like, I couldn't be arsed with it. I preferred the badass feeling of just walking in and chopping the shit out of people and walking off like I was a big man. And it was like, yeah, that was kind of a better experience for me. Anyway, I think this ties us into the next game, which can be Fallout 4, which I can talk about in a little bit more detail than I did in Hotfix.
Yeah.
Mr. Kirioth, based off what you've seen me play of that game, do you want to play that game?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because I didn't like Fallout 3, and it looked like Fallout 3.
Why didn't you like Fallout 3?
Honestly, it just didn't. I did not find it interesting. I didn't find the gameplay interesting. I didn't find the VAT system interesting.
Did you like Skyrim?
Yeah, I did like Skyrim. I played Skyrim a load.
So the only difference with Skyrim and Fallout is that Skyrim's a fantasy game. Really, the stats are different, and little bits like there's no VATs, but the game is basically the same. Now, this is a dead interesting thing to me because I'm the same. I like Skyrim. You can't really. Well, Oblivion, maybe. Oblivion was all right, but Morrowind, completely different level like that. Like this. Right, here's the thing. We said on Hotfix, didn't we? Fallout 4 is not taking Fallout to the next level. It is just Fallout again, right? There is no enhancement really apart from the crafting system and bits and pieces like this. It's just the same game. It's the same bloody game. Same big wasteland. Same guy comes out of a vault. The story hasn't really changed. You've just got to survive. That's it. And you survive by talking to people who've been living in this horrendous wasteland for hundreds of years. That's basically it. That's all it bloody is, right? When they made Morrowind, they pushed things forward.
Yeah.
Then they made Oblivion, which simplified what Morrowind was. And Oblivion was way more accessible, and Oblivion was designed for the current generation of consoles that had just launched, so the Xbox 360 and the PS3, I believe. But it was way more simple. If you were me, and I guess there's a lot of you guys out there who had played Morrowind and all of the expansions for that, and then got Oblivion, you're like, this is, it's okay. Graphically, it looked really good at the time, but it's really simple. Like, it wasn't Morrowind, because I remember there was this big load of, like, noise on the internet, and rightfully so, about the fact that you had quest markers.
Yeah.
That showed you where to go. And the fact you could just fast travel all over the map. Like, you could just, like, click on a town you've been to and you'd appear there. Now in Morrowind, you couldn't do that. You could only travel using the Striders, which were the big it was like the transport system, and they were only at certain places on the world map, and the world map was pretty big. When you got given a quest, it would just be like a guy. There weren't even quests as such. It was just you could talk to a guy, and he'd be like in the pub or something. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, if you take the next three lefts on that path off to the right, there'll be a door, and inside the door there's there might be a person, and if you say this to this person, and then they might do this and that." So you felt like you were exploring in a way more organic way. But then along comes Oblivion, and Oblivion was just talk to a guy, and then here's a big red marker, run in that direction until you get there, do the quest, run in that direction until you do then get the quest, and it's like,
yeah.
Okay, that was kind of a bit gash. But then it's interesting seeing how things change, and obviously Fallout 3 came out, which was the same. Was like the reinvention of the Fallout series, but kind of used the same sort of principles that Oblivion used, where it made things a bit simpler. Because Fallout 1 and 2, I mean, they were not Bethesda games anyway. I think they were Interplay or somebody, but they were difficult. They were like old school classic RPG things. They're not what Fallout 3 was. Fallout 3 though worked in the way it worked because it heavily relied on story and stuff like that, and it had a very big world at the time, and it was like this freedom of you can do whatever you like, and that's great. New Vegas comes out, and people are like, "Geez, this has gone to another level of storytelling," because of Obsidian were on board, and they enhanced it in that way. It was still a shit engine, it was still buggy, but you were still getting pretty good quests and memorable characters, or so I'm told. Well, I've not really played it that much. And then you get Skyrim. At the time, Skyrim, when it launched, was graphically quite impressive.
Yeah.
It was impressive. The scenery, it was like, wow, look at these massive mountains and everything. Okay, it had all the engine problems and stuff. But really, it was just Oblivion in a different zone.
Like a different setting, yeah.
Yeah, that's all it really was. It had some good quests in it, but the stuff you'd expect from Elder Scrolls games, the old quest lines here, like the Warriors Guild, the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild, and all of that stuff, and the Thieves Guild was always a crazy quest line to do, and the Mage,
the Dark Brotherhood as well.
Yeah, the assassin ones, the Dark Brotherhood, and all of that stuff. That's what makes the game enjoyable. But then we come to Fallout 4, and Fallout 4 is this weird one where it is just Fallout 3. Like, they haven't changed anything. Like, at least with Skyrim, okay, it was still kind of like Oblivion, but it was in a totally different area. Fallout 4 is just the same. Okay, it's in Boston this time, but it's a wasteland still. It looks the same. It looks graphically better, but people have said the characters are not as good. Things have been dumbed down a bit more. Chat selection, it's when you select chat, it's simpler.
I kept seeing people say things like the VAT system is better because it doesn't stop time, it just slows it.
Yeah, it does slow time down, yeah.
That's not really that big a change. That doesn't really, that to me does not strike me as, oh my god, this is revolutionary, because all it does, from what people have said, is make it slightly harder to aim the gun. But I've watched countless videos of Fallout 4, just because I want to know what I'm fucking talking about when we talk about it on Hotfix and today. And I honestly don't see what the
it's interesting from me who's played it and you who hasn't played it. On the outside as like a potential customer. It's interesting seeing
I just don't see the massive kind of what everyone else is seeing when they say things like, oh, they've made all these tweaks that make it just, that much better. And I'm like, especially the VAT system, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, but it's still the same system.
It's not
whereby
enough.
It changes the camera angle to third person. It shows you firing your gun and you miss. Well, I played Fallout 3, and I remember that I would do the VATS thing. It would rotate the camera around in third person, show me firing the gun, and I'd miss. The only difference is that the guy selected the target a little bit quicker in Fallout 4, but it still looks exactly the fucking same. The camera angle looks the same. The end result is exactly the same. It's like, oh, wow, it makes it so much better because you've got like 5 seconds to aim instead of unlimited time. Well, how long are you spending time doing that anyway? It's like, what?
Let's just jump back to them for a minute. Look at Witcher 2. It was on rails, heavily story-driven RPG. For Witcher 3, they could have done the same thing again. And I've said before, I think that was what I was expecting. That would have been okay in my mind. I would have been like, oh, it's just The Witcher again. But no, they decided to just make it a massive, like nothing is this size massive, apart from Daggerfall, I guess. But Daggerfall doesn't count because it's an ancient game. Well, it's not the first in the Elder Scrolls series because Elder Scrolls Arena was. But Daggerfall had like endlessly generated map, I think, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was really big. But everything obviously looked the same 'cause it was years ago. Witcher 3 said, let's go next level. And they did it. And it's like, wow, you've really pulled this off. Fallout, Bethesda have just gone, here's Fallout 3 again. And that's the main thing which is annoying to me. I'm not saying it's a shit game. Like I said in Hotfix, I don't think it's a shit game. It is the same game you guys have played 7 years ago with a better with the same graphics engine, but that's slightly updated. And it's the same game. Like they haven't taken any risks. They haven't done anything to make the game revolutionary. They've just given you the same game again in a different place, but the place looks. I mean, I remember when you come out the vault in Fallout 3, you can see Megaton, can't you, in the distance?
Yeah.
And you can see like a smashed up highway, and then you can see maybe the tower.
Which, by the way, that was something that put me off Fallout 3 as well, because I got the quest to go and see the person who was living on the smashed up highway.
Yeah.
There was a quest marker there. It wasn't there. He just wasn't there.
Oh.
He was never there. Like I moved on to other things in that save, and he just never ever appeared. I had that quest for ages, and he was just never there. And in the end, I googled it, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I've had it in games where he's just not been there. He just doesn't exist in the game." And it's like, well, fucking great. I only spent an hour wandering about trying to find the bastard, and it turns out he doesn't exist because the game's glitched. What the fuck is this? And that, I'll be honest, that put me off a lot. Like I spent ages looking for that guy because it's like I want to know where this goes. Because, that's what you're supposed to do, isn't it? You find a quest, you want to know what happens at the end of it. And if you can't even progress it because the fucking guy's disappeared.
Yeah, but they're fucking shit bugs. Like, I mean, this is a weird thing. This is right. Skyrim. You know when you walk through somebody's house in Skyrim, or you walk through like the Mage's Guild or something, you would see things like crazy staffs or fucking swords and shit, and you'd be like, huh. You'd try and nick them, wouldn't you? You'd be like being a right wanker, or you'd like try and rob the shop and things like that. You don't seem to be able to do that in Fallout 4, although there's loot everywhere, but the loot is not like. You don't see the loot. It's just like in a box. You click on a box and a menu opens up and it just tells you everything that's in it. And you can just like loot it all and it's like, okay. You can pick, loot can be on like guns and shit can be on the floor and whatever. You can pick it up. I think with Skyrim, I think it's because you're actually in a world. You're not in a world that's the end of the world. It's like you can be a little criminal bastard if you want to be. But in Fallout, everybody feels like you're a criminal bastard. Everyone's just out for themselves, I guess. It's really hard for me to talk about the game in massive detail. All I can say is kind of reiterate what I did say on Hotfix, and that is it doesn't do anything different. I didn't like the UI. I'm not blown away. I'm not like, wow, this is great, I need to play it. And I think I'll be annoyed if it wins like RPG of the Year awards, because Witcher 3 came out this year, and that is
I'll be honest, that's
okay.
That is...
So taste is relevant, isn't it? And I can't sit here and say it's infinitely better than Witcher 3. But on a straight statistical fight, The Witcher 3 is superior.
Yeah.
In every way.
It's very difficult to be objective about games, especially about games as complex as open world RPGs. But there are kind of simple ways that you can look at things. It's like, how many quests in Fallout 4 are like basic standard RPG quests? Go and collect this for me. Go and kill that person for me.
Which apparently a lot of them are supposed to be like that, in Fallout 4.
How many quests in Witcher 3 are like that?
Yeah.
I'm going to gamble not that many. And even the ones that are multi-step. It's not just go to this person in the cottage, that guy over there, I want him dead. And
I'll give you an example of a Witcher 3 quest.
Storylines for every single quest.
Well, not all of them, but some of them would be short. I mean, this is just a short example. So there's a kid who is... you don't even have to speak to these people. I just walk past and there's a guy and he's outside his house and he's like faffing around. I spoke to the bloke and he's like, "Oh, you're a Witcher. I've got a son. He's not really my son though. I've adopted him. But he's quite sad, you see. The reason I've adopted him is because this horrific monster has murdered his father. But the kid's like, he's sad. So I said to the bloke, like, well, do you know what the monster looks like? And the bloke's like, no, I don't know. So then I went and asked the kid, because I went through his house and in the back garden there's a kid sitting down, like looking all sad, like, said hello, talked to the kid, and the kid's like, "Oh, hello, you're a Witcher." You're like, yeah. And there's ways you can talk to the kid. Like, you can just tell him to fucking grow up. You can tell him he needs to move on. You can ask him what the monster looked like, or you can ask him a load of other shit. And I was like, what does a monster look like? And he explained it to me. And obviously Garrett, because he's a fucking witcher, he's like a super monster hunter. He's like, oh yeah, he's describing this some fucking hell beast from God knows where. And I know that they roost in caves, so we're gonna fucking there must be a cave around here somewhere, so let's go and find it. So then I went out and found the cave, murdered this stupid pigeon chicken beast thing, came back, and then I could like there's ways you could interact with the kid. Like the reward was then going to the parent of the kid, who would then give you gold, or you could just say keep it and give it to the kid. That was an option. It was like, no, keep the money and use it for the kid. And it's like that. What the shit? That is such an amazing quest. I think I told the kid to fucking grow up after I killed it and took the money, because I like being a bastard, and I just walked off with the money. But you could have said like, here's the gold that I've just been paid, and I want you to keep this to use it for your education or something. I mean, that is just fucking way and beyond what I've experienced so far in Fallout 4, which has just been which has just been go to this place, get this thing, and go over here.
This is my worry about like when we come to Game of the Year season, all that kind of thing, because Fallout 4 is.
Hang on, let me give you another example. I know I'm being a bastard and I'm fucking interrupting you all the time, but so at the very start, in the you could call it the tutorial area of The Witcher 3,
which is about 100 hours long by itself.
You meet a guy who used to work for a local lord, but doesn't work for him anymore, right? And he's out hunting, and he wants you to help him kill some of these feral dogs that are running around. So you're killing the feral dogs, like whatever, blah blah blah. You talk to him, and then you can ask him why he doesn't work for the Lord anymore, but you don't even have to. You fuck it. But anyway, you talk to him, go through all the dialogue. It turns out that he's gay, and he was gay with the Lord's son. And when the Lord wouldn't accept this, the Lord's son killed himself, right? And the Lord's manor went to shit because the Lord couldn't believe it. And I'm like, this is some heavy shit, like really, for a fucking. But it's The Witcher. This is what it's like.
In the tutorial area as well. It's not waiting for It is not like 100 hours into the game you're going to get something that's in a way quite divisive in and of itself. Instead, it's like straight off you find this guy and you're like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god, this is quality.
But then you can find like in the local cemetery, the son and the Lord. And people like that, like then they are actually dead. It's not like just a tombstone with nothing on it. The level of detail is fucking unparalleled in that game. And I know I keep coming back to it and talking about it all the time. Where I'm comparing it to Witcher 4. To Witcher 4. I mean, what the hell? To fucking, I can't tell you what Cyberpunk. I bet that would be fucking good if Witcher's anything to go on.
The thing is, though, I like you keep saying that you're sorry for coming back to it, but I don't think there's no reason to apologise in a way, because every now and again a game will come out that will redefine a genre, or it'll like propel it so far ahead of what we're used to that it's going to become the reference point. It's going to become the title which against other titles are measured. And I think Witcher 3 is absolutely it should be that. It should be that, because I didn't play a huge amount of it, but what I did play was never boring. I never sat down and went, oh, this quest looks a bit shit, because every quest looked at least interesting, if not outright like main story incredible. All of them did. I mean, I compare it to, I probably played Dragon Age Inquisition and Witcher 3 for about the same amount of time. It wasn't a huge amount of time. I think I've got maybe about 10 hours in both now.
Why though? Why is it so low if you like the game so much?
Honestly, it is just a matter of not intimidation, but it's like I look at Witcher 3 and I'm like, I want to play this game. And it's like, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I want to play it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm not going to get anything done in that time. It's too big. I want more time to play it. I want to be able to just sit down and like spend an entire day in it, but I don't have an entire day to sit down and spend with it. And when I think about playing it for just a little bit, I kind of feel like that's not going to be enough in a way. It's like the game's so big that I don't think I can play it for like an hour.
Doesn't that mean the game's not very good then? And Fallout 4 would be a better game for you, because you could just play that for an hour and get a lot of things done. But then,
because it comes down to the quality of what you're doing in the game. For some people it just comes down to time. Not everyone has got the time to play all the way through something, but they can still appreciate what they have played. And hour for hour, the quality of what I found in Witcher 3 compared to the quality of what I found in Dragon Age Inquisition is not even comparable, because in Inquisition I found
I
go and
thought that.
find these.
Hey, I
Go and
played that
find
for
all.
not even an hour, and I was like, "This is shit. I can't
It's
play
like
it."
I mean, I played it for quite a while, so that when I did a kind of first impressions review thing for it, I would know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
it
were a
was.
fan of. I mean, we were both massive fans of Dragon Age, but I know you played it way more than me. The first
I
one
mean, I played
of
Origins
Origins.
so often.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, yeah.
played that through so many times. But then at the time, we weren't making videos for YouTube every day and stuff. And like for Inquisition, it's just the quality of the content. Like the time played doesn't really come into it as such because the quality of the content was completely different. In Inquisition, I was told to go and find like sheepskins and go and collect crates that were dotted around the map. And oh, this guy's over here and
It's
he
when they
needs
feel
killing.
like
And
shit MMO quests, it becomes
yeah,
gutting,
and
don't it? But like
Inquisition
in
felt
Witcher
like
3,
shit MMO quests. Whereas in
yeah,
Witcher 3, I didn't spend all that long in the game, but the hours that I did spend in the game were spent doing quests that felt like they were supposed to be a main story. But they weren't a main story. They were just the
yeah, it could
side
just be some
quests.
side quest.
And in a way, I think in a way that kind of adds to why I haven't played it that much because I don't feel like I'm a sucker for narrative games. I absolutely love like a game with a really good narrative. It's one of the reasons why Transistor is one of my all-time favorite games. I love the story of that game. I love the way it's presented, and I could go back and play it again and again. And I have played it through like 3 times at this stage, just because of how good it is. But it's also quite accessible because it's not a long game. It's only about 8 hours long, so you can play it for like half an hour and then piss off and do something else and then come back to it. The Witcher has so much story. All of it is story. There's no filler in The Witcher from what I could see and from what people have told me. I mean, I've spoken to people who've got like 300 hours in the game at the moment, and they're still like not even halfway through the main story. They're still
No,
doing
it's
side
massive.
quests and they're still talking to people. And in a way, it kind of adds to like the intimidation factor where it's like I want to sit down and play it, but I
Yeah,
I
but you
almost
can
want to
get
skip.
immersed.
I almost want to skip a lot of the actual game because
You
the
just want
story
the
is what
main
I'm
story.
is what I want to be there for. And I
See,
know it
so
sounds
like you get
stupid, but
examples in that game. Well, you get it's not. It doesn't. It makes sense. Talking about like memorable quests and stuff, even like stupid shitty things. Like I remember there was a guy standing by a road, and I just walked past him, and he was like, "Hey, any chance, mate?" Like because I just talked to you daily, like fucking
yeah,
scumbags from medieval England, and I'm like, "What's up, son?" And he's like, "My cart's been dragged off into the marsh over there, and something terrible's happened, and oh God, could you please help me recover my lost goods?" Blah blah blah. But you go over there, and Geralt's like a fucking detective, and he's looking around, and he's like, something's not right here. This like this shit is not right. Something bad's gone down. So you go back to the guy and you're like, look, mate, I've found your box, but I'm afraid you've got some questions you need to fucking answer. And he's like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's like, this is not right. Clearly, you're a scumbag and you've murdered these people and you're actually a criminal thief, and I'm gonna have to waste you. And the guy's like, oh God. But that's what you're thinking. But actually, no, it twists
yeah.
again. And the guy isn't a criminal. He's like, no, no, no. He's part of the Temerian bloody army, which doesn't exist
Yes,
anymore.
the resist. Was it the army, the
Yeah, yeah,
resistance, or
he's
something?
the
And it's
resistance. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And these are supplies for the resistance that he's taken off them because he doesn't want the Nilfgaardians to have it. And it's like, but you were friends with the Temerians in Witcher 2. So if you play Witcher 2, you can be like, oh, okay, we'll carry on and get on with your resistance. But me being an ultimate wanker, I was like, no, I'm keeping these for myself. Fuck you. And I just took them and carried
yeah,
on. But like
yeah.
that's just like and it's such a I expected to get that in Fallout 4. I might get it, but all I've done is done like the start quest, came out of the vault, looked at the crafting a little bit, got my dog, went to where you meet the Minuteman and the survivors. They go back to the survivor area where you can craft, and then I started heading towards, I think it's Diamond City or somewhere. I did the
Yeah.
odd bits and pieces on my way there, and I've like looted some random like raider outposts, and that's basically been it.
So this
And
is
I don't feel like I'm in the world. I'm just like a guy running around, just collecting
that's
loot.
yeah, that's one of the things I felt with Fallout 3. This is I never thought I'd be this person, but it's like for The Witcher 3, I would actually. It sounds bad. I would love like an ultra casual mode because the game the
There is,
gameplay's
there is.
the gameplay's good. Like
There,
just
there
kind
is,
of
there is. You basically one shot everything. You're just so hard.
just
You
like a
just
one
nothing can
shot.
kill you. You're just like a king. You just walk around and wreck people. It's
I
story
didn't
mode, I think it's
realize
called.
that.
think it's called story mode.
I may end up going back to that because honestly, I've never had. Well, no, I have kind of had it before with the odd game, but there are certain games that I'd play where, and it's only started to happen fairly recently, where I'm kind of playing. I'm like, yeah, the gameplay is good, but I don't care. Like, I know it sounds bad for someone who plays games all the time and is making content on a gaming channel and is talking about games on a podcast, but
Right, I'm putting these dice down.
for some stuff, I just don't really care about the gameplay. Even if the gameplay is really good, just because the quality of the other aspects of the game are that good that I want to experience those. Like, I've spoken to people who've played The Witcher 3 loads, and they've put screenshots up and they talk about it on Twitter, and they're still playing it, and they're like 300 hours in, and every quest they come across has got a quality story, and they're really enjoying the story. And I'm just sat there and I'm like, I don't give a shit about the character development. I don't give a shit about skill points, potions, combat. I just want to be in this world. I just want to be talking to these people and exploring their lives and finding out what's going on. And I think that's one of the reasons I haven't played The Witcher 3 in a way, because I don't give a shit about the game. I want to experience all the stuff in it, but not actually play it. And that's a really weird thing to say because I've never really
It's not really though,
because that before. It's like,
that's a game designed for that though. I think though. I mean, you get. I mean, like I said, I was playing it on the hardest difficulty because I just wanted to challenge. But then I was like, it is a challenge. Don't get me wrong, but it was doing my head in. I was like, I just want it to be a bit faster.
It's
So
almost
I
like
dropped the difficulty down.
It's like I don't want it. I don't want even the slightest bit of challenge. I just want to know what's going on. And
yeah, I'm sure there was story mode for it or something. It was called. And it was just
it's
that
kind
easy.
of rare that you come across a game that will do that. I mean, even with Transistor, despite how much I love the story, I still like playing the game on like a challenging difficulty, and I still like having modifiers in, so the enemies are a lot stronger than I am. But then again, I suppose the difference is that Transistor's short, and even doing a New Game Plus run with plenty of modifiers, it's still not going to take you more than about 10 hours to complete the game, even if you constantly fuck it up, because it's just not a long game. Whereas I know that The Witcher 3 is literally hundreds of hours long because people are still playing it. They haven't finished the main story and they're like 300 hours in. So, I mean,
which is terrible for like taking you to an area and suddenly it's like, oh my god, like there's loads of stuff going on. Like when you get to, well, I won't spoil it. When you get to certain places and certain things happen, it's quite clear what the main bloody quests are. But you could just be like, well, I'm going off over here now, and that the game's totally fine with that. And it's like, yeah, you can go off over there and do all this wondrous stuff, and then come back to the main quest. And I don't know, like with ignoring, like, oh god, they don't feel like side quests. This is one thing I think it's really good at doing. It doesn't feel like it's just a pointless quest. You know, when you look at like a Ubisoft map and it's like, oh, look at the Far Cry map. There's a load of shit to do, and there's a load of like, you know, pointless things on the map, and it gets really irritating to play, at least for me anyway.
Days.
Yeah. With The Witcher, you would see all this stuff, and you'd be like, you go over there, and it would just be. It wouldn't feel like a side quest. It would just be something completely different. And a lot of the time, you'd be sitting there going, "Wow, what the fuck?"
Well,
this
is
happened?
part of it. It's like every time I moved anywhere, I'd look at the map or I'd come across something, and I'd be like,
"Shit!
Oh, it's something else." But in a way, that scared me off because I'm like, I want to know what happens here. But this guy's just spoken to me, and he's just said something that's interesting, so I should follow what he says. But then you go off following what he says, you come across someone else, and it's like, oh my fucking god, who?
But then,
bloke,
you get a demon baby floating through the fucking woods with you in the middle of the night. If you do one thing, it's just crazy.
It's like it's too big, but
there's a guy. There's a guy.
I think I'm going to go back to it and try that. I'm going to have a look and see if there's like what the mode is.
I was putting screenshots on Twitter, wasn't I, when I was playing it? And there's this little guy, and I can't remember his name, and he's like, "We ain't now better than opening your bowels to rise of the sun," or something like that. In the morning, he's like this little freak guy. He's like a mystical creature. And they're like good luck charms, but there's not a lot of them around because people were just murdering them. It's like, what? Because all the peasants, the peasant population is idiotic, isn't it? It's like, like they are typical cabbage peasants, and they're just like, kill him, yeah. And they're like rapists and murderers. It's terrible. Fucking welcome to The Witcher. Yeah, so Fallout 4. I am going to play it more because I don't think it's fair for me to just play it as I have and left it. There will be mods for it, so I hope there'll be a UI mod because the UI mod is the UI is shit.
Yeah.
I am one for getting lost in a world. I can just get lost and play a game, and that'll be fine for me. So if the game can pull me in like that, then yeah, maybe I'll play it. But just purely on like a mechanical, technical, innovation standpoint, it is not the RPG of the year. It cannot stand up to The Witcher 3. And to be honest, The Witcher 3, as of right now, it is game of the year. And nothing I've seen is close to that in terms
Yeah.
of what has actually been achieved there. Yeah, I mean, you can say like probably my favorite game of the year so far has been Overwatch, but that's not even out, and I would not even class as game of the year, even if I played it like an addict, which I think most people would say for games like League of Legends, which I think is a kind of a weird thing as well. You might
Yeah.
play it like an addict, but you wouldn't say it's game of the year, but it's the game you always play, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, guys. Comment below if you do. It'd be interesting to see.
Well, speaking of
So,
Overwatch, we have of
yes.
course been playing that with the 3 new heroes, which
Yes.
I still haven't played Genji. Genki's
There's a
that
video
thing
on
out
the
of
channel
Saints Row.
of Genji.
Saints
Oh
Row 3
yeah,
and Saints Row
that's the
4, the stupid
crazy
cat head guy.
Yeah.
Mei is ridiculous. Like absolutely crazy. The crowd control of her is mental, and I would be shocked if she doesn't get some sort of nerf at some point, because she can make herself invulnerable and heal herself, and she can slow everyone and freeze them in place with her left click attack, and she can do the same thing with her ultimate, and the left click does a ton of damage as well. It's surprising how much damage it does.
Yeah.
And the right click can snipe you from halfway across the map, which is nice.
And the left click freezes you as well.
Yeah, the left
Don't
click
forget
freezes
that.
you as well. So
And then she just looks at you like this.
yeah, she's got a
As she kills you.
stupid look on her face, and it does just enough damage to most characters that they have got like 4 health when they get stuck to the floor, and then she punches you in the head and you die with a stupid expression on her face. She's interesting to play, but the fact that she's been introduced to the game, and I've seen a couple of Genjis, I've seen a couple of Divas in some of the matches we've had, and some of the matches I've had by myself. I have not once since those characters were introduced not seen Mei turn up on every single team. She's always on. There's always at least one on both teams. Quite often 2 on both teams. And I don't think it's because she's new so much as because people have immediately gone,
Well,
holy shit.
I don't agree with you saying that she needs nerfed, because if you've got to look at what she is, right? She is an anti-diver, right? She stays on the team with the team, and anybody comes close, she fucks them up. She fucks up
Yeah.
Reinhardt. She fucks anybody up who comes in. Reinhardt comes in like the big man. She's just there going, and Reinhardt's froze, and then he's getting shot in the head with the right click. Because what you're supposed to do with her, right? You don't punch people, but that's the funny thing to do. When you freeze them with your freeze, you then right click in the head, and it fires an icicle into the brain. And it's cold. She's cold, man. And they die. It doesn't kill Reinhardt, but it does immense damage to him to the point of when he unfreezes, you can just kill him anyway with just anything. You can just basically slap him and he die. She's really good at protecting the team from people who dive onto the team. She's also got the wall, which just blocks off areas of the map. It doesn't last for that long, but it just blocks off areas of the map. It's like, well, fuck you. You're not coming at us now. That's why we're seeing her in a lot of games. Because Genji's just your typical... It's just Tracer, basically. Genji's just a highly mobile guy who does more damage than Tracer, but he's more risky because he has to kind of dive in and like trot slashing around.
Now,
Whereas she can jump around and heal herself. That makes her a bit more durable.
I've seen some shit with Genji this morning whilst I was faffing about, and I had a few videos up, and I watched a few plays of people like Seagull and so on, and Genji, I think, is a lot more complex than a lot of people are giving him credit for. Like when we were playing yesterday, you showed me that his shift ability, where he dashes, is directional. So like he can go up or to the side or whatever, and it can be used not just for slashing people with a sword, but it's also a movement tool. He can deflect Tracer's ult with his E.
He can deflect almost everything with his E.
Yeah, it can deflect Mei's ult as well. And when we were playing yesterday, there was a Genji that was fairly good. He wasn't amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it only lasts for about 1.5 seconds, if that, the deflect. It's not like something where he's constantly doing it. He just goes...
But if you use it at the right point, he will wreck you. And like
you can deflect the hook off Roadhog as well.
Yeah, I don't think you take the damage either. I think the
just
damage is
goes
reflected, but the hook doesn't do anything. It just deflects
it doesn't bring him towards you. Devastating. Oh, shit.
But it's like, it's interesting. It was interesting watching some videos of him because he was, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Seagull. It might have been someone else. I can't remember. I watched a couple of them. There was a Bastion set up in the corner. Genji comes round the corner, uses shift ability, like
with it
halves
at the
the
same
distance.
Time. You can use them at the same time as well.
And he shifts round, but Bastion like starts firing where he was, but he doesn't track him like quick enough. So he kind of shifts over the bullets, lands in front of Bastion, uses his E to deflect, gets partway in front of him, then does his double flip, his jump, because he's got he can double jump.
You can double jump, yeah.
Lands behind him and just wastes him, just absolutely kills him. And I was like, I had that guy down as just like a bit of a almost like just a standard kind of close combat guy, just run in. I think in the hands of someone who really knows what they're doing, with the maneuverability he's got and that deflect on his E, he could be really, really nasty.
Well, I've had games with him where I've butchered everybody, and you're just like, all right, then you've been wrecked. Because what he's got, right, is he can rapidly engage the enemy dead quick. So on the video that's on the channel, you see at the start of that where I'm fighting a Reaper. Now, Reaper in close combat, he's fucking bad news, Reaper is. But I butchered him. Admittedly, I butchered him when I pulled the ultimate out. So his ultimate is he just rips his massive katana off his back, and it just does massive damage when you chop people with it.
Yeah.
But then I ran down, and there's like Zaya and 2 other people down there, and I just killed all 3 of them while I had my ulti up. While I was, it happens really quick. So I mean, if you guys watch the video and you sort of come back and as I'm explaining it, maybe now you're watching it and you pause it or whatever. But I run in, I dash in, I slash, I use the E to deflect shots that are coming to me, and I slash forward again. So I'm dashing E and dashing, slashing. You have to do a lot of things really quick with him. I think he's one of these characters where if you've got a high skill level, if you're like really good at making snap decisions dead quick, you can decimate people, like absolutely wreck people dead. It's like Tracer in a way, although Tracer lacks this like spike damage. Yeah. Where Genji has got the damage to kill you and to kill like anybody, Tracer doesn't. But Tracer can heal herself, so she's okay. But if I was to put them both together, I'd be taking Genji, because Genji is way better. Like Tracer's ultimate, she can drop the bomb down, which is pretty good for getting in and blowing up in like a turret or something and getting out. But as you've just said, you can still get in with Genji anyway and do serious damage because he's so quick. But what I was saying with like heroes which give the most impact that have been added, Genji is just an assassin hero. He's just a DPS assassin hero. He's not this guy who's like a mega game changer, whereas Mei, she is a game changer. Yeah. That's why we're seeing it all the time, because Mei counters Genji. If Genji comes in for Mei, she's freezing it, and then he's dead. And it's like,
I think the only reason I would suspect that she might be altered, maybe not nerfed, but altered a little bit, is you say she's anti people who dive the team.
Yeah.
But the problem is that a lot of the people who dive the team, like, she seems to be anti everyone who dives the team. Like, people from range can obviously kill her and stuff, but I don't know how sensible it is to have someone who is like a blanket counter to everyone who disrupts the team. Like, there should be someone there who is capable of actually closing with her.
There's little intricacies in all of this,
true.
though.
Yeah.
While so I play Junkrat the most, right? I can kill Mei. She can kill me. Yeah. But the way I kill her is I throw my trap in her face and it sticks to the ground, and I quickly jump away so I'm out of her range because she's very short range, and I just load her with bombs. It's like, goodbye, Mei. But if Mei comes around the corner and starts freezing me and I don't have my trap off cooldown or my concussion bomb to blow myself back away from her, well, I'm fucking screwed because she's going to freeze me and kill me. So it's like Soldier 76. You see Mei coming, you can rail her, you can fire your rocket at her and it'll knock her back. But you might miss with your rocket, or it might be on cooldown. And if she gets up to you, well, that's fucking bad news. So she's sort of like I think she is almost like an auto pick though, which is wrong. There shouldn't be an auto pick in the game. You shouldn't be like, right, okay, we're on defense, Mei. We're on attack, Mei. We're just taking a Mei anyway because Mei's just going to wreck people. Yeah. It's like D.Va is the opposite of this. I think she's very situational. Very situational.
And I think I disagree with that now, because I started out not liking D.Va, and I thought I'd like her because I thought that playstyle is like that.
I like playing her. Yeah,
that would suit me down to the ground. At first, I didn't like her. Then I realised that I thought I'd started playing her the right way, and then I realised that actually I think a lot of people are overlooking something fairly important. It's a re, isn't it? Because the shift is the flying around.
Easy at the intercept thing.
I know it sounds daft, but it's like I know all the abilities. I can just not always remember which key they're mapped to, but as though it matters, because it doesn't really, because it's still just the ability that they've got. But when yesterday we were playing, and I used her intercept ability, which stops projectiles heading towards the team. It shoots them out of the sky. It's very fancy. It looks very good.
Yeah.
to completely cancel.
I'm raising my APM.
Yeah, to completely
I've done it to
cancel a
Farah.
Reaper
I've
ult.
wrecked with Farah.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, that's good for a Reaper ult.
I did it against that Reaper that we were up against like every single match yesterday on the last game we played, and I completely nullified his ult. It did literally nothing. It didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And I realised when I did it that, and it's not just me, because I've noticed a lot of people who are playing D.Va do the same thing. They're treating the fact that she's mobile and she's got those crazy guns that can just fire infinitely, although it slows down her movement rate.
Yeah.
They're using that as the discouragement for people to come into the team. But the reality of it is that, because I've seen quite a few of them do this, where they'll stand at the front of the team and push forward as though they were Reinhardt, but constantly firing, like blanket shooting. And I realised I was doing it as well at some times. And people seem to neglect that interceptability. Because the interceptability, it does what Reinhardt's shield does. And it does what Zarya's shield does, except it's not a shield. People are using it as an anti-ult ability.
Yeah, but it's just an anti-everything, yeah.
It is, it's anti-everything. So I was seeing divas like storm out when they're on in attack on payload maps. Well, it's pretty much all of them. But, they'd storm out and then they'd start firing. And they'd be like, oh yeah, shoot away, shoot away. Now, if you're at any range, Diva's firing does nothing. Like even if you hit them,
it's point blank. You have to attack people point blank.
Even if you hit them, it will say that you've hit them, but the health won't go down because it does so little damage. It's completely negligible. It's like taking off 0.001 or something at a time. It's worthless. There's no point doing it. What you should be doing is using a movement speed to the full and putting your intercept up like you would a shield and storming out of the head of the team, because you are protecting them from a huge influx of damage. Because any projectile coming towards you gets shot out of the air. Same thing with the shift ability, with the flying. I noticed I was using it to dive in, wreck people, like shoot them point blank, just shoot the shit out of them. Then I started using the intercept as I was backing away. You cancel out the damage they're doing to you. You're saving any team members who are behind you. And then as you start to get low health, use it to fly off again. The number of people I saw who were using it just to get onto, like, tall areas of the map. Like, I saw multiple divas fly onto rooftops and just stand there and drill. Sorry, at that range, your guns don't do shit. Like, I just don't care. It does nothing to you. When it comes to actually using that to disrupt people as well, I saw maybe one diva last time we played actually use it to fuck up the team. When you fly, you push people. There's collision in the game.
Yeah, you can ram them. You can slam people with the thing.
If there's people stacked on top of the payload, if they've got the shields up, well, you're a player. Even if you're flying, you're still a player, and players go through shields. So I was knocking Reinhardt off the payload. I was knocking Zarya back. I was ramming Winston out of his dome, using it offensively. When again, a lot of people seem to just use it to just fly up and over. And I think really that the way to treat it is it is like a close range blasting machine with the guns.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a mix of all of the different tanks, because you've got the maneuverability to get around with the flying. You can get up on top of stuff, you can get down from stuff, you can disrupt the team by flying into them. You've basically got a shield because it counts as damage absorbed for a start, because you're protecting from incoming projectiles. And when you get in there, firstly, you've got massive damage at close range because it's split up into small projectiles. It's like two massive shotguns on either side of the mech. And when your mech dies, if you press Q, it explodes. So if you're on the verge of dying, provided you time it right, which can be a little bit, it can be a little bit off sometimes. That in itself is a weapon that can be used to disrupt the team.
And when she's out of a mech, she's her plasma pistol thing is quite powerful.
Yeah,
like really powerful. But she's dead fragile, obviously. She's not in the mech. But
it just struck me as I was watching people yesterday that I wasn't seeing a huge number of people actually treat her as what I think. I mean, I could be completely wrong about this because I haven't played a huge amount, but she feels like a mix of all the different tanks. Whereas people seem to be playing her as just one type, either as like a long-range kind of discourager by just blanket firing at everything, which I saw quite a few
that is
people
the worst. That is just retarded.
Or just charging in, and like there were divas going in and they just fly in.
Can I
and
just
then they
make
never
a
use
statement?
The 8, and it's like
any tanks that just charge in are crap and they die. It's like the comedy Reinhardt, and it just comes steaming past. It's like Reinhardt, you run up to 5 of us, you're teaming nowhere near, and you're dead. You have to be with the team. Well, I've had D.Va plays of the game, and I've had D.Va quite big kill streaks with D.Va.
Yeah.
Well, when I say kill streaks, it's like elimination streaks, like because you're poking people a lot of the time. Because if they're far away from you, sometimes it's worth just giving them a little bit of a poke if you see your team attacking them. But the way I've been playing her is, and this is why I think she's quite situational, is a lot of the time, if you want a tank to control the payload, you want Winston or you want Reinhardt. I'd say Reinhardt's the best, or a Roadhog, because a Roadhog can be quite good as well. Because a Roadhog never dies. If a Roadhog's played right, he's just a wanker and just laughs at you as he's healing himself, then carries on hooking you and shooting you, and it does your head in.
Yeah.
Um, the reason why I think she's quite situational is because she can kill. Oh, she can kill Roadhog in close combat. She can kill Torbjorn and his turret in like she can just kill them. If you've got full health, Torbjorn's there with his turret and he's standing behind it, bashing on it with his hammer. You can jump in there and kill them both. You'll take serious damage, but you will kill them. And it's like, well, that's pretty fucking strong.
And because a lot of her health is shields, not health, they regenerate as well. She's got 500 health, and 400 of it, I believe, is counted as shield, and 100 of it is actual health on the mech. And then when you get kicked out of the mech, you've got 150 health yourself. So,
but you're very
you're very fragile, but
you don't last very long. She kills everybody in close combat apart from Mei. Everybody. She kills Winston. She kills Reinhardt. She kills everybody. She is like a she's extremely powerful when she's shooting you half a meter away from your face.
yeah,
Right. So you can use her movement, which is one of the best movement abilities in the game, because you can just fly anywhere. You can rapidly run past the enemy team if you're defending or attacking, kill people at the back, kill Widowmakers, kill fucking Mercy, then run up when people start attacking you. You can boost away, grab health, and then go and do it again.
Yeah,
and suddenly you change from this like I mean, I wouldn't even go anywhere near the fucking payload with it. You're just this monster who runs around the backfield wrecking everybody, and it's the only time you get shut down is if they come to shut you down, and at which point they're not on the payload, so you're drawing them off the payload by doing it. She's but then there are times when she gets totally shut down, and then there are times where you are better off having a Reinhardt, because even though her intercept is good and it is quite powerful, Reinhardt's shield lasts longer.
Yeah,
and Reinhardt can protect, and you can shoot through Reinhardt's shield, and it's very visual where Reinhardt's shield is. Her intercept isn't. If you watch it when it goes off, it is for you if you're playing it, because you see it coming out, don't you?
Yeah.
You can see the field when you're on the, running around projecting from D.Va, but it's a bit weird. But I've used it to like cancel Farah, where she took off just this range from above, and I've done it, and all I see is it just cancelled it out, and it's like, well,
that's the thing.
It's over, like, which is like, it's funny.
When I say she's a mix of all the tanks, I don't mean she's like a direct replacement for some of them, because obviously that's not true. She just doesn't have the staying power of Reinhardt at range. She also, while she can disrupt the charge as well, the rocket boost, the flying ability, she can disrupt with that, but it doesn't really damage. It just knocks them out of the way. And it disrupts, but it doesn't hurt. Whereas Reinhardt, if he gets a good charge off,
does a bit of damage, but it's not
can murder. Like he can murder as many people
unless
as he hits.
Unless it's buggy and you hit the wall and you're like,
unless it's buggy
like me as Junkrat, and I'm like, oh shit, Reinhardt's got me. I'm standing to the wall. I just took no damage. Right,
yeah.
Not
in which case, GG. But she can. I think she's situational, but I think she's actually less situational than she seems, because I think at a push she can kind of just about mind, not anywhere near as effectively, but she can just about like protect the payload. She can just about tank the damage from afar. She just hasn't got the reply that the other tanks have got, and she is definitely a brawler. She's more a brawler than anything else.
Yeah, she's more like in Roadhog's class than Reinhardt and Winston. But then having said that, Winston is good for getting in the backfield again, because Winston just kills. If you can use Winston's jump to jump straight onto sniper nests and wreck whoever the hell's in there, Hanzos and bloody.
Well, that was one of my favourite things I was doing when I was playing D.Va. It was like, oh, there's Widowmaker, and then you land next to her and you fucking drill her, and she's just like, you see the little rope go out, and then she just dies, and you're like, yeah, fuck off. it's satisfying as hell. And I will say as well, Reaper can ruin her. I mean, it makes sense because Reaper can ruin all the tanks, but it can be really crushing with Reaper, because he'll turn up behind you, and of course if you're firing, you don't have the movement. When he's firing, he's still got the movement, so he can just circles around you. It's the same for Winston and Zarya as well. They just aren't capable of really hitting him, which is, I really like playing Reaper, but he's such a scumbag. I feel bad for doing it. But yeah, of all the new heroes, I am enjoying I'm actually enjoying Diva the most, and I didn't think I would at the start because the first time I played her, I wasn't playing her right, and I was like, this just feels a bit shit. Now I kind of know what I'm doing with her a bit. I'm enjoying her a lot more. I will say that the ult, the way they sold the ult in her little demo of what her abilities are, not not you'd be lucky. You'd be real lucky. You either need to have a really well placed Mei ult at the same time to be able to kill the entire team, or you need the other team to not notice this giant fucking
With a
ball of
flashing
light with a flashing
exclamation mark.
exclamation mark and a warning symbol. Also, it will kill you in weird places. Like, it's supposed to be line of sight, and I have actually looked into this, and I've people have been talking about it. It's supposed to be line of sight based because explosions don't really go round kind of S-shaped corridors. That's not really how it works. Physics have never worked that way. But you can dump the mech, set it to explode, run round the corner and up some stairs, and then you'll still die when it goes off from your own explosion. And I had that happen a couple of times when I was playing with Diva, where I'd dump the mech in, it had like no health, I'd fly into the middle of the team, drop it, I'd run away, I'd get away, I'd be like, yes, I'm behind a wall, fuck you, team. I would be the only one that died. The rest of the enemy team is just pissed off, or they've managed to get a barrier down, or some sort of shield, or they've hid round a corner that's near it, or they're on one side of the payload, it's on the other side, or it's been ice walled. Ice wall will block it as well off Mei, the little fucking bitch. But God damn it, that ice wall really pisses me off. You go through a doorway that you just blocked, and then it turns out it's your own team. You're like, Mei, do you wanna let me through the door? But no, she's already put it down. Tough shit. You got to wait for it to melt. God's sake. But yeah, you'll dump the mech. You run off. You round the corner. You should be fine. But no, then you die. And it's like, why? Why did that happen? Please. Although I think that's probably just down to little bugs more than anything. Like the plays of the game that can sometimes happen with Diva, where it shows it's like play of the game, and then Diva's walking down a corridor, and then she looks to the right, and then it finishes, and it's like, nice. Nicely done, Diva. That was that was definitely play of the game. But yeah, I do like all the new heroes. I think I need to play Genji and kind of mess about with him. I liked seeing what other people do with him so far. But I think out of all of them, Diva's the one I like the most. Although I have to admit, Mei is just so fucking useful. It's just unreal how useful she is.
It might be because of the way the map's designed as well that she's so powerful. Because a lot of the map design philosophy just seems to be open area, choke point, checkpoint, open area, choke point, checkpoint. And it's always the same. It's like fight over this area, move down a corridor, fight over this area, move down a corridor, and fight it. And when you're moving down the corridors, it's like, oh dear. And even when you're fighting in an area, it's like, well, here's a wall in your face. Yeah, I am enjoying the game still though, and I'm not like I don't even feel burnt out on the game. Which usually, if I played a game for this long, like I'd be like, well, I've played too much of this now. I don't want to play it, but I don't. I'm just like,
Well, usually if I play a game for that long, I feel burnt out. If it's an FPS, I feel burnt out after a day. I still want to play more. I'm still really enjoying it, and I'm kind of. It's weird. I don't get frustrated with Overwatch. Really, like I'm sitting there, oh, fucking hell, Reaper's killed me. But then as soon as the game starts again, it's like, who cares? And I just carry on. Some of the ways you get killed in Overwatch, I don't know why. They tickle me in a way that other FPS games don't. Like when we were playing and I died and I came back through the portal and I was playing as Diva and I came back through our portal, but the other team had found the portal just as I went through. I damn near had a heart attack because I came through the portal and the first thing I saw was Winston looking at me, and then he started shooting. I was like, oh shit. And then Reaper was right behind me because he was about to kill the portal that I'd just come through, and he just shot me in the spine. I died immediately, and instead of being like, oh fucking bullshit, I was like, that was pretty fucking funny. That was, what the hell was that? Because it was just like, you expect to go through the portal, and I've noticed quite a lot of the time you go through the portal usually facing a wall, and then you have to turn around and actually go the right way. I don't know what it is with that. But this time, I was expecting to come out into like a nice little quiet area, and I was like, I'm going to sneak around the back, or I'm going to blast someone in the spine. No, fucking monkey in a giant mech suit right in your face just battered me, and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like I managed to murder Reaper with Diva using the flying, because it was on Hanamura, and he was right near the edge of the map when you're on defense, and you've got that bit off to the right. And it's like a balcony, like a wood balcony, and it's the way Tracer and Reaper and a few others can get over. And he was right near Yeah, he was
Sure, I could get anywhere. So
right near the railing, and he saw me, and I don't know why. I have no idea why he did it, but he jumped. I don't know whether he was planning to like trying to jump to the side because he thought I was going to open up on him, but he jumped, and I hit the flying ability and just flew into him and knocked him off the edge of the map. Then just turned around and landed. I didn't get credit for the kill, but I was just like, get the fuck out.
you know what's really good to do with that?
It was dead funny.
What's really funny with that knocking people off the map, Volskaya Industries, when you're on the attack, the last point, round the side there, you can, because Lucio can get both ways around the side, and it's right, blast people there. So you can just run round the side and just keep popping people off the side. It's dead funny. It's just stupid. It also, like, Farah can do it with her thingy, E. The game's just so stupid. I mean, I like playing Junkrat, and Junkrat isn't really very serious, but it's quite hard to play. And when I'm, like, really enjoying it, it's like I'm getting shitloads of kills and loads of fucking... And it's like, what the fuck? And the things you can do with him, it's just totally... Like, people don't expect it, because you can blow yourself up, can't you? Send yourself all over the map, so you're just like, woo, jumping everywhere.
The thing is, it's like, even if I'm not doing very well, and I'm getting sniped by Widowmaker, like, 4 times in a row, because I'm just running out into the open like an idiot, at least half the time, I find it dead funny watching the kill cam. Because I'm like, I know what's about to happen. Yeah. I know full well that I've just died because I'm a fucking idiot and I've just run out into the open. And it'll show Widowmaker fully zoomed in with like 100% charge on an attack, and you'll just see me run around the corner. And then the next thing you see is my body fly away, because sometimes, like, when you get hit, like, you just a right distance, don't you? You just go flying. And it always makes me laugh, because, like, I'll run out, or, like, I'll be next to somewhere where the map's open. I won't get knocked off the map, but I'll get killed, and the body will get hurled. I find it funny every time. I'm just, like, minding my own business, having a nice duel with someone, having a nice little one-on-one fight, and then Hands or Widowmaker will shoot me from the other side of the map, and my body just goes flying every time. It's like, oh shit, that was harsh. Just every time. I really enjoy that game, and I don't get any of the stuff where, like, when I played LOL, stuff pissed me off when we lost. When I played Heroes of the Storm, it wasn't quite as bad. Like, occasionally though, it's like, this guy's a fucking idiot. What's he doing? Get off my team.
Well, we have had this a few. Remember when we played on the NA server? We did have like people started shouting like, asking a guy why he's playing a certain hero and he needs to sort himself. And I'm thinking, it doesn't really matter. Like, maybe ask yourself why you're playing that guy. You know, because you can tell if you're not being effective in Overwatch, because you're getting killed. Like, if you get killed and get killed again and you're not doing anything, and you run back to the point and die again, it's like, well, you need to change your hero because you're just getting killed. Yeah. If you just keep doing it, every time you die, they get closer to the objective, and whether that's defending or attacking. So,
it's I never thought I would be that taken with what is basically a Twitch-based FPS, but I am, and I think it's largely because the way I play it and the characters I play, it's not a Twitch-based FPS. It's closer to playing Smite, the characters that I play, and I really enjoy it because it's. You can pick Widowmaker or Tracer or Soldier.
Yeah, I can go away and be an FPS player like I want to, like a Twitch-based FPS one, and you can, in the same game, can still help me with shields and all kinds of stuff, and that's what makes it good.
I can wander around as a butch Russian tank, shielding everybody and telling people to get down and give me 20.
But your reactions still need to be fast. Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, when we go back to the original point of when they said the game was supposed to be like a casual friendly thing. It isn't. You need to be able to play FPS games to play it. You can't be somebody who's never played an FPS, because you'll just get wrecked.
Yeah, I think you still need to have some innate kind of game playing ability, but then again, I will say that I'm faster now than when I started playing it.
Oh yeah, it's just through practice. But I think what we're seeing now is people who are better at the game. You watch them, and like sometimes I feel like I'm killing all the enemy team, and I'm like, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but it's generally with Junkrat, because I'm getting really good with him, and I think what I'm doing here, I am wrecking the enemy team, and I know I'm wrecking them, and it's like I'm wrecking these people here, and obviously with MMR and stuff, you'll eventually get ranked with people who are of the same kind of skill level, I suppose. And you know, I've watched the odd streams of people, and I watch what they're doing, and I'm thinking, you can see that these are good players. But it's a game where you could have a guy like that. Not everybody needs to be like that. So if you take Counter-Strike, for example, everybody needs to be like that on the team.
Yeah.
For the team to be successful, you all need to be super pinpoint accurate with whatever weapon you're using. You need to have amazing reactions, be crazily spatially aware, and all of that stuff. In Overwatch, you only maybe need 2 of those guys on your team, because then you can have a guy who is better at getting shot, like Mr. Kirioth, being in the way, because it's fine, because he can get his shield out. I think that's what makes a difference. But yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I don't think there's going to be any more content before the game launches. And there won't be no new maps. There won't be well, there may be maps, I don't know, but there'll be no heroes, they've said. And we'll have to see what goes on from there. But yeah, this is a game which I have been playing. I must have played it over 100 hours easy now. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy, which is quite crazy.
It's quite an achievement for a game that's not even released. It's still just in closed beta. Don't think I've ever had that with a game before. But
no, you keep coming back for more.
It's
and
just
it's like,
enjoyable. It's just that they've just managed to make a really enjoyable game. Is basically what it boils down to. I think that is it for today's podcast. We'll be back again next week at the same time, 2 p.m. on Saturday, which is GMT now, but not BST because the clocks have changed. And Hotfix will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. GMT. And as always, if you enjoy it and you love it and you want to support us, then Patreon is, I don't know if it's still up there, but it's definitely down there.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere. There's always a linky somewhere. So,
a linky.
Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time. Linky. Bye-bye.
Toodaloo, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
I just did a hand wave like what is that? It's like half queen, half rimmer.
Rimmer queen. Queen Rimmer.